And tonight, wild allegations without a shred of evidence. The outburst of Ghana's Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, who is tonight ripping apart claims that his inept leadership style is crippling the effective performance of the Ghana Police Service.
Another wide allegation. I don't know which of them, my brothers, who made that statement. Then I could probably ask the committee for him to go with me and tell me where I put it. Because technically, I don't have it. I don't know about it.
The IGP denying masterminding the tape, but there's more unfolding tonight as Parliament's ad hoc committee is vowing to pursue only the truth without malice or prejudice to the integrity of Dr. George Akufo-Dampare or any other individual involved in the scandal.
From day one, ab initio, I stressed that I don't have any incentive to mess up somebody's life and career. What is that going to do for me?
My name is Blessed Sogah, and this is Top Story, brought to you by Vodafone. Further together. Wild allegations without a shred of evidence. The words of Ghana's Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, as he finally makes the much-anticipated appearance before Parliament's ad hoc committee today, probing an alleged plot to terminate his appointment. For days now, senior police officers, including COP Alex Mensah and a former Northern Regional Chairperson of the New Patriotic Party, Chief Bugri Nabu, have all made damning accusations at the same forum, which is seeking to uncover the veracity or otherwise of an audio clip which has since gone viral on social media, in which some senior police officers, together with Chief Nabu, were heard allegedly plotting to remove Dr. George Akufo-Dampare before the next general elections in 2024. But before we get to the response from the IGP tonight, who's making some appearances before the committee, let's give you a background to some of the claims made in the past at the earlier committee hearings. Samuel Mbura is my colleague who's been monitoring this ever since the story broke. And Sami, today was another episode. Just before we get to that, let's get to how this all started. Chief Bugri Nabu appearing before the ad hoc committee and, of course, setting the probe into motion simply because he first of all admitted to recording the tape, except to say that he was solely giving that out to the president to exact actions on. What did Bugri Nabu say?
Blessed, Mr. Bugri Nabu indicated that there was the need for him to have recorded the tape for the president because of the concerns from the officers. He said the concerns were scary and had national security implications.
My voice is there.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Would you be good enough to tell us the rest of the individuals that you were engaged in that conversation with?
Well, one Commander Asari.
Okay, please go slowly. Yes.
Police commander.
Yes.
But I don't know which district or which region or which section he command.
Okay.
But he introduced himself to me when he came to my office.
Okay.
That he was a police commander.
And Mbura, that was the moment when, of course, the committee then had confidence that there was more to probe. And then next, of course, two other officers appeared, including COP Alex George Mensah, the former Director General of the Technical Department of the Ghana Police Service. He then, beyond the tape, of course, went straight at the competence of the IGP. What was his opinion?
Well, COP Alex Mensah confirms that he had several meetings with Daniel Bugri Nabu for about 4 times, which he said they had conversations about his private plans for retirement and issues surrounding politics. However, what has been captured and circulated in public domain, though has a voice representing him, has been distorted.
Is not managing the police service well. And for me, for the 31 years that I've been in the service, I can tell you he's the worst IGP we've ever had. The role of the rep of PUMA on the council is to go to the council and speak the minds of all police senior officers, not only PUMA. In fact, he represents senior police officers. And there is a junior officer too on the council who represent all the junior police officers. And he or she is there to speak the minds of all junior police officers. IGP, who is a member of the council, is the one who speaks the minds of Puma.
And so that is COP Alex Mensah, who then Mbura went ahead to point out and allege that the IGP is the one who masterminded this tape. But we're getting a response for the very first time from the man who's been battered for days. What's the response of the IGP to all of these claims coming before him?
In fact, the IGP was shocked about these allegations of he masterminding the recording of the tape and flatly denied having knowledge about these plots to record them and expose them.
IG, I want all of us to disabuse the perceptions out there. From the onset of these proceedings, the evidence adduced to the fact that the tape was meant for the president. And Chief Bugri Nabu went to the extent of telling the committee that he handed over the tape to the president. I was surprised when the witnesses mentioned that you have the original tape. What can you tell the committee about this? Or what can you say about this? Thank you.
Honorable Chair, another wide allegation. I don't know which of them, my brothers, who made that statement. Then I could probably ask the committee for him to go with me and tell me where I put it. Because technically, I don't have it. I don't know about it. So why should somebody come here and make such wild allegation without proving a bit of it? And then I'm asked to respond to it. Honorable Chair, I beg of you. I beg of you. I don't have it. And I pray that maybe going forward, we should make sure. And made indication that, yes, they are involved in what was happening. Then all of a sudden, instead of them to focus on that, they came out with wild allegations. Honorable Chair, with wild allegations that touch my person, the police leadership that I lead, and the entirety of the police service. Without, until today that I'm being told that now they have some evidence, without a shred of evidence. Honorable Chair, at the time that they were making it, without a shred of evidence. And Honorable Chair, those wild allegations without a shred of evidence has brought a lot of pain to myself, my family across the country, and especially my wife and children.
And we're now learning that the minister in charge of national security will be making an appearance before the ad hoc committee tomorrow. It's part of the ever-increasing scope of the issues that the committee is looking into. My colleague Samuel Mbura will be providing us with some details on that. And Bugri Nabu himself, who will be before this committee, because the IGP, for the very first time, is commenting on the type of relations he's had with Bugri Nabu over the years. I mean, I'll come to you shortly, but joining the conversation is Justin Puar Teruaja, who is a lawyer and also served one time as the former superintendent of the police service, joining us on the telephone lines now, and also Alfred Papadakwa, who's a lawyer for one of the witnesses in this whole hearing, Superintendent George Asari. And it's good to be hearing from you, Alfred Papadakwa. First of all, let me find out from you, are we set to see your client appear before the committee tomorrow?
Hello, good evening. Please come again.
I'm just asking if Superintendent George Asari, your client, will be before the committee tomorrow.
Yes, that's the instructions we have, so he'll be there.
The initial expectation is that he was going to be part of some indoor or in-camera engagements today. Were you disappointed that that did not happen?
Well, I wouldn't say we're disappointed. I mean, I think there were some deliberations among the committee, and they decided that because some of the assertions and allegations that were made in public, it was also good enough for the IG also to respond in public. Because though what is happening is more of a legal thing, it's now become a political trial, or which is being done in the public domain. I mean, so probably they also wanted to give him that opportunity to respond in public, and I think that is what he did today.
Do you think that, and of course you have a full sense of what the position of your client is, that after listening to the Inspector General of Police speak today, that the facts might perhaps change in terms of the perspective from which your client has been looking at this case all throughout?
No. You know, from the onset, I keep on saying that it's not my client against the IGP. This is somebody who had a private conversation with a politician that got leaked. The content of the conversation has now become a subject matter of an inquiry. He is being questioned on their content. Some of the allegations that were made in the content, he was asked if he could prove them, and he said yes. He could give further and better particulars of them. In the wisdom of the committee, giving further and better particulars of these allegations in public will not inure to the national security or has some national security implications. So the committee decided that we will do this in camera. And that is what we have been waiting for.
But also to, reiterate the point that your client was certain that the tape as heard on social media is not the original tape, and that there's more to what we're hearing. The IGP says he has no knowledge about that.
We shall see. When we get into the nitty-gritties, we shall see about that.
Which means that you have evidence to point to the contrary, that the IGP indeed, through his assigns or by himself, may have some foreknowledge of how the tape was procured.
Like I said, we will get there.
It's the reason for which the in-camera hearing is being done. The fact that your client believes there's more to it. Are you going to present that evidence without, admitting what the content is before the committee tomorrow to indeed prove your point that the tape was doctored and probably by the IGP?
I think the allegations that have been made by my client, he still stands by it, and he will be given the opportunity to prove them.
We've seen the IGP today in a rather nice fashion, reconciliatory note, where, of course, he's stretched the olive branch to not just your client, but also COP George Alex Mensah. You've seen all of this play out. Are you willing for some sort of dialogue, reconciling with the IGP and moving on with life? What's the, thoughts of your client on that?
The cameras were there. This issue happened not today. The cameras were there. Maybe you could find out whether, since this issue came, whether he had any interactions with them, or is it because today the cameras were there and you have to behave in a way that it could be captured by the cameras? I don't know, but I mean, these things, I think we've gone beyond it. The most important thing is that if we are talking about reconciliation, I think that one it's a personal matter between them. Well, the committee is interested in the allegations that have been made and whether those allegations were just mere speculations and had no weight. I mean, these are the things that the committee is interested in. With regard to their personal relationship and reconciliation, I think that one we have to leave it to them.
And one other outstanding matter that, of course, will come up to you and will be of interest to you is to protect, first of all, the job of your client, and also try as much as possible to advance and adduce the evidence before the ad hoc committee tomorrow. The interdiction suspended now. We don't know if the IGP would want to trigger that. He said that he's recusing himself from any other disciplinary action that may be taken against Superintendent George Asare or COP Alex Mensah. If that leg of the conversation is reactivated, what will you do as lawyers for Superintendent Asare?
I think I'll keep my advice for now. When we get there, we would cross it. If whatever they want to do, my advice is between myself and my client. I think I'll keep it to my client.
Okay. We wish you well and wait to see what then happens tomorrow as you appear before the committee. But even as we speak, lawyer Justin Terewaja has also been listening and monitoring all of the developments. Counsel, I'll hear from you shortly. Your thoughts on what's transpired today, knowing that you've served in the legal department of the police service, also gives you lots of insight and experience into all of this. But there's one issue that comes up which borders on the integrity of the IGP himself and also his working relations with one man who's a star witness in all of this, Bugri Nabu. And Samin Bura, that's why I want to hear from you. The point about having a contract being given out to Bugri Nabu, which we've seen in a purported video where this star witness is also claiming that he's receiving some payments from the Ghana Police Service. What's the response of the IGP in terms of, first of all, the claims about giving out some contracts or dealing with Bugri Nabu, and also the other leg as to whether or not Chief Bugri Nabu, facilitated the appointment of George Akufo-Dampare as the IGP? What's his response?
The IGP, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, says he doesn't have any relationship with Chief Bugri Nabu in any form. He goes further to indicate that it is untrue he hired Bugri Nabu to record a tape and insisted that he getting to the higher ranks of the Ghana Police Service has not been facilitated by any politician, but based on merit and his academic qualifications. And he says that he, George Akufo-Dampare, has not given any contract to Bugri Nabu.
Honorable Chair, I do not have a working relationship with him.
Inspector General of Police, if somebody alleged against you that you are the architect of the first video or the video, you in cahoots with Chief Bugri Nabu, got these individuals taped, what will be your response to that, sir?
Honorable Chair, that is untrue.
Inspector General of Police.
IG, has Chief Bugri Nabu ever lobbied for you to become or to be appointed Inspector General of Police? Just yes or no?
Honorable Chair, the fundamental point is this. I have been in the service for all this long, by the grace of God.
I crave your kind indulgence. Your man is saying just answer yes or no. Was he part of the lobbying team to get you, appointed as the IG? Yes or no?
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
The answer is no.
Okay, so he stated that on record. Lawyer Terewaja, your thoughts on that aspect of the conversation?
My thoughts are that these are allegations, and it is a tried point of law that when an allegation is made and it is denied, the onus shifts to the person making the allegation. We often say that he who asserts must prove. So those who are saying that they lobbied for Bugri Nabu to be, for the IGP to be appointed as such, they have the burden of proof. That is, if it is Bugri Nabu or any other person, But the nature of lobbying for somebody is such that unless the person is recorded, if Nabu goes to lobby to the president and it's a conversation between him and the president believes that the IGP, the current IGP, is the best person to execute the job and he's appointed, in the face of these assertions and denials, it will be difficult to be able to prove it one way or the other. But I will hasten to add that it is early days yet. The proceedings are still ongoing and more revelations are still coming. So we just have to wait and see whether that allegation against the IGP can be proven.
And counsel, we know that you have, immense experience having worked in the legal department of the Ghana Police Service. There are two issues at stake now. The point about COP Alex Mensah and George Asari, Superintendent, the likelihood of reactivating the disciplinary measures even as the ad hoc committee completes its work. And possibly, is it likely that the IGP could be triggering some level of interdiction or disciplinary action against himself through the very confirmation is made that indeed he's dealt with Bugri Nabu before, except to say that there's no working relation?
I'm not too clear about the question about IGP triggering disciplinary action against himself. I want to be sure I'm getting the question.
Because we know that the reasons for which the two individuals, COP Alex Mensah and also George Asari, Superintendent, were interdicted was that they were engaged in some sort of political controversy. Now that the IGP is indeed confirming that he has also had some interactions with Bugri Nabu, except to say there's no official dealing, is it likely that in reactivating this disciplinary action against the two, the IGP could also be implicating himself per the code of conduct that you have for the police service?
Yes, that is if it is proven. But for now, it remains a mere allegation. And if it is even proven, then it may get to the level of the police council, because the IGP is the CEO of the police service, and it's the police council that may be able to go to that extent. Of probably placing him on interdiction and then asking for these processes disciplinary action to be taken against him. It will be a rare thing to be done, but that should come from the police council, the level of the police council. But as matters stand now, the people in the people really facing the people, so to speak, in the dock for now are the three police officers. The IGP just came in, and for me, what happened today looks more like a public relations gimmick for the IGP, virtually, giving him the chance to explain how well he's run the service and all of that. And then the other point is, even the terms of reference of the committee, is it about the efficiency of the IGP that they are to look into? I was watching it and I was wondering, what is all this about? Because these are people who came and the issues were about whether they really made those damning statements when they met Bugri Nabu in the attempt to lobby for the position of the IGP, and they were to confirm this. That's the ad hoc committee. And then there were certain red herrings thrown at them as to how the IGP is running a one-man show. And even with that, my take is that when you look at Article 202, Clause 2, it is clear that the IGP is in charge of the operational control and administration of the police service. Now, the police, what you call POMAP, is the Police Management Board. That is just a creature of a CI, a constitutional instrument. Now, the Constitution itself vests the power in the IGP to run the service efficiently. Now, a lesser law, which is a CI, creates a Police Management Board, and what is more, that CI even says that the Police Management Board is an advisory board. It's an advisory body that advises the IGP, and it makes sense because the Constitution gives the power in terms of operational control and administration of the service to the IGP. So this is just a management board to advise the IGP. The IGP got the opportunity today, and he showed that everything he does, he gets their advice. But the point is, if he even takes certain steps without the advice of POMA, it's not fatal because the most important power is with him. It's like the Chief Justice running the judicial service. He may get advice from senior judicial officers and judges, but he has the power per the Constitution to run it, just like the president has power to run this country with the advice from his cabinet.
Okay, and that's where I want us to get into. Where do you see all of this ending? First of all, knowing that the remit of the parliamentary committee, the ad hoc committee, is being questioned. The fact that they, first of all, do not have locus over either terminating or revoking the appointment of the IGP in the first place. Neither do they have explicit authority to exact some punitive measures on COP George Alex Mensah, who's going on retirement, and Superintendent George Asari. Where do you see all of this ending?
For me, the ad hoc committee is it's a committee established under the Constitution, and Parliament has that power to establish such committees to investigate, for Parliament to get to the bottom of matters, to inform parliamentary debates, and to inform legislation or any power that Parliament may have to exercise. So for me, this is more to enhance the work of Parliament as an arm of government. But then when you look at the position of the IGP falls squarely under the executive arm of government, which is headed by the president. And the president it is who has the power to hire and fire IGP at whim. Even if the president has a bad dream tonight, tomorrow per our constitution, he can change the IGP. So what Parliament is doing does not in any way limit the power of the president to do as he may with the position of the IGP. So there are two separate and distinct things, in my view. That Parliament has its remit, they can go ahead and examine the issues, and the committee has its terms of reference. They are supposed to do that and report back to the House, and then their decisions will be taken in an informed manner. So my understanding of the proceedings of this committee is to help sharpen the focus of Parliament in delving into the various issues in the national interest. But it does not in any way encroach on the power of the executive arm to also take whatever action they want to take, which may be disciplinary action against the police officers concerned and all of that.
And with all of this unfolding, with fears that there is a likely impact, adverse one, on the Ghana Police Service, as a former officer of this service, what would you want to see the IGP do now in order to, keep the service intact?
For me, I think that if, after all the dust settles, if these matters are looked into much more seriously, because it has aroused the attention of the whole nation. And so, as I was saying, concerning the executive arm, when we get to that, then what they have, the allegations made against the officers are, of course, these are allegations they themselves have made. It may lead to administrative disciplinary action against them, and that was started, but the timing was a bit problematic because, you see, this leak tape came out much earlier. And I don't want to believe the police administration never knew about it and couldn't have taken action on it until now. Yeah, but it's never too late because the law is the law, and statute of limitation wouldn't have run. In these matters, so the police administration can take action against them even after the ad hoc committee. Because as I explained, the ad hoc committee's work does not in any way affect the executive arm's performance of his work, which may include disciplinary action against them, in my view.
Grateful for spending some time with us, lawyer Justin Puara Teriwaja, a lawyer and a former superintendent of the Ghana Police Service. Wrapping up top story here on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm Blessed Sogah. Next is Newsnight.
Ever visited a shop, picked a whole basket of provisions, toiletries, and very essential things you need, battled a long queue to finally pay, only to be told you can't pay to a merchant number the way that thing they pay, but with Vodafone Cash, there is no problem. Now on Vodafone Cash, you can pay all merchants on all networks. Easy peasy. Aye straight. Aye direct. Aye sharp. From your Vodafone Cash wallet to any merchant number on other networks. So whether you are buying provisions or fuel, medication or food, whatever the service or need, just pay conveniently from Vodafone Cash to any merchant number. Simply dial *110# to make payment to merchants on other networks today.
Vodafone.
Live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. This is Newsnight. And in the next 60 minutes, Defiant Electoral Commission starts limited registration exercise despite threat by 18-year-old to cite its commissioners for contempt. More as the NDC accuses both the EC and judiciary of conniving to intentionally disenfranchise NDC members and rig the 2024 elections, as it labels the limited voter registration exercise as illegal, unreasonable and unacceptable.
The Jim Mensah-led Electoral Commission is determined to rig election 2024. The decision by the Registry of the Supreme Court to defer giving a hearing date. This is yet another clear evidence of judicial manipulation.
We have updates of day one of the exercise where 2 persons have already been arrested for attempting to register twice in WA.
So far, 2 people have been detected for attempting to register twice.
We'll bring you updates, live updates from across the country on day one of the EC registration exercise. Also this evening, IGP Dr. Dampari defends decision to centralize police communication, as he says the decision was agreed to and made at the Police Management Board and not his sole decision.
It is something we have discussed at POMAM, agree upon a strategy for redefining our engagement with the public in a manner that sits well with international best practice.
We have details as he denies allegations the police administration under his watch has been sitting on promotion of qualified officers.
When it comes to people who have gone to school and they are coming and they are asking for promotion, and it didn't start on the watch of this current administration. It is 11 years or more ago, and this is something that has been implemented.
We have details from today's sit-ins from the ad hoc committee, and we've been hearing that warning to the police council that you cannot intimidate or gag witnesses. That's parliamentary ad hoc committee investigating the IGP leak tape.
Under no circumstance should anybody who appears before Parliament be gagged or intimidated. That is the message we want to send out there. Those who have been invited as witnesses should feel free to speak to the issues without the fear that somebody might interdict you because you have appeared before Parliament to assist Parliament and unravel certain truths.
I'll give you updates on what you missed today at the public hearing of the ad hoc committee. Plus, the IGP is expected to return tomorrow with the National Security Minister for that hearing for tomorrow. So we have business.
Fitch Solutions predicts Ghana cedi to end 2023 at 11 cedis 40 per Swiss to $1.
And in sports, Jordan Ayew and Mohamed Kudus on the score sheets as Black Stars dominate Liberia at the Craft Sports Stadium in a friendly.
And it's a Tuesday and it's time for stories of hope. And after losing her 1-year-old daughter to cancer, one woman decides to wage war against the canker to whisk other children away from the jaws of death.
My little girl, she had rhabdomyosarcoma at 1 year, 4 months. A very painful journey.
That's and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please do well to join us with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp 055 1111997. We're on X Spaces. You can send or leave your messages there with the hashtag Newsnight. Also on Facebook and affiliates across the country. Also on myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu, and this is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Please stay on for details. Many thanks for your company, and we dig in now. And a Defiant Electoral Commission has today commenced the limited voter registration exercise despite multiple suits pending before the court seeking to force the EC to decentralize the process. EC has come against fierce opposition after it decided the exercise will be held in its district's offices nationwide and not the electoral area level as demanded by the NDC, some smaller political parties and CODEO, for instance. Well, we'll go around the country shortly and bring you updates on the day one of this particular exercise. But first, the National Democratic Congress has been accusing the Electoral Commission and the judiciary of conniving to cheat the NDC in the 2024 general elections. Chairman of the party himself, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, addressed a press conference earlier today and says the directive of the Chief Justice not to give them a hearing date for the injunction application and the EC's decision to go ahead with the exercise despite several pending court processes is unconstitutional and unreasonable.
The EC's decision to restrict registration centers to the district offices will reduce access to voter registration. It's not only unreasonable, it's insensitive, unreasonable, unlawful, and unconscionable. This irresponsible and unconscionable decision of the Commission confirms the NDC's long-held view that the Jim Mensah-led Electoral Commission is determined to rig election 2024 through voter suppression. But she will fail. The decision by the Registry of the Supreme Court to defer giving a hearing date for the injunction application on grounds that the Chief Justice is currently out of Accra leaves much to be desired. The administration of justice in our apex court cannot come at a standstill simply because the Chief Justice is indisposed or unavailable to give hearing dates. What happened to the e-justice system the John Mahama-led NDC administration toiled for? This deliberate delay should not happen in any civilized country, and this is completely unacceptable. This is yet another clear evidence of judicial manipulation, and we condemn it in no uncertain terms.
Meanwhile, the party says their initial assessment of the registration exercise shows the exercise has been riddled with mass equipment malfunction and in many cases low turnout.
Over 90% of centers were not able to print out the required start of the day printout across them. So the process is already endangered. Now most centers across the country started after 8:30, when I believe the advertised time was 7. Greater Accra, Ododo here. They started at 10 a.m. Ablekuma West, 10:40 a.m. In Savlugu in the northern region, Sanerugu in the northern region, midday. And Tamale North too, they haven't started. 2 names for the whole day. Savannah, Daboya, 9. Damongo, 9. And as I was walking into this office, the same report was coming from Tamale South and Tamale Central. We have an issue of network challenge too. About 70% of the centers running online are slow, hence delaying the process. Lower Manya Krobo Eastern region, Asojamai, all this happens to be the strongholds of the NDC. How come that our network system in the country is so politically selective? Bono East, Techimai North, the system is not able to print any card at all. Again, our area. Western region, Mpoho, not able to capture data. Ahafu, Tano North, the system is not able to print cards. Trobo, there's a complete system breakdown. Ablekuma West, system breakdown. Central, Abura Asebu, machine breakdown. In Upper West, Lambusie, machine breakdown. Tamale North, network and machine breakdown. Lower Manya Krobo, network breakdown. Tamale South, machine breakdown. Tamale Central, machine breakdown. There is not more than 2 centers where these breakdowns are happening, which are in the stronghold of MPP. All the rest are in the stronghold of NDC.
We'll touch base with my colleagues who have been monitoring the situation on the ground today. My colleague James Savaji is with me in the studios. But first, let's talk about the suits that are currently pending. And an 18-year-old resident of Afienya here in the Greater Accra region, Aita Precious, is asking a Tema High Court to commit the EC chairperson, Jean Mensah, and her deputies to prison for contempt for going ahead with the registration exercise despite her application for injunction pending before the court. Thankfully, her lawyer, Nikwapo Samuado, joins us on the line. We're grateful for your time, Nikwapo. So let me find out if this particular application has been filed and the EC officials been served.
Okay, so my information is, yes, we filed it today. The contempt application has been filed. When the bailiff got to the EC office this afternoon, he was made to understand that the EC and their lawyers were in a meeting and that he should come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. So maybe we may hear some news from the EC this evening, or we wait for them to receive the process tomorrow at 9 a.m. and then we take it from there.
Well, we will definitely then take it from there. But does the mere filing, well, this question, I'm sure you've had to answer it a time without number. But really, does the mere filing of an application for injunction act as an injunction to stop the EC from proceeding to do what it intends to do?
It is not. It is that. The thing is this. It is not that the mere filing acts as an injunction. But when you are on notice that you are not supposed to do something, or somebody is seeking to stop you from doing something, you do not undermine or what we call overreach the court by doing the very act that the person seeks to injunct you from doing. That means that you have no regard and respect for the court.
But was the EC on notice? But was the EC on notice, you'd say?
It was on notice. The EC was served. The EC was served with our originating motion on the human rights, and they were served with the injunction. Ask the EC whether they've not been served. Well, call Dr. Bosman and ask him whether they've not been served. That is why I think maybe this evening they're having a meeting to probably review their actions, because what they are doing is in flagrant violation of court procedure. And that is why we have filed the contempt, to make them aware that we are not going to take this line. Even if they decide to disregard the court process that have been served on them, they will pay the ultimate price for it.
But the original injunction, though, I don't know about your client's own, but we know that the other 5 political parties, they are yet to get a date for hearing amongst others. Is it the same with yours as well?
Ours is completely different.
You have a hearing date?
Theirs is at the Supreme Court. We are at the High Court. 2 different courts.
So in your case, you have a hearing date. That's what I'm trying to find out.
We have a hearing date. We've had a hearing date. They've been set. That's why I said we don't have any issue. They've been set.
Okay.
And once they've been set, they're enjoined not to act. And remember, there is precedent for this. Go back to the time when the presidential candidate that stood in the NDC primaries. He went ahead to file an injunction against the NDC from holding the presidential primary. Dr. Dufour, go back and look at what the EC said. In fact, there were 2 suits on that day. The EC said they could not go ahead with the holding of the presidential primaries until the NDC dealt with those 2 petitions. So what has changed?
Well, that's for the EC to answer, but the process is going ahead. I'm curious about whether your client...
the process is going ahead. That's why I say we are not a lawless organization.
If I may conclude on that, Nipapo, I'm asking, your client is 18 years. Will she avail herself to register in spite of the suit?
We would advise her, if the EC decides that despite these processes, they will still go ahead. Obviously, we have to balance the issue of ensuring that she enjoys her rights. That would be a decision that we will take. But that doesn't mean that we will not hold them accountable. That is why we filed the contempt application.
Okay.
And we would ultimately ask the court to commit them to prison, because what they are doing, if the line is not drawn, would act as a foundation for other state institutions to act lawlessly. And we can't have that.
We're grateful, Nipapo. We'll definitely follow up tomorrow at the time that you've been giving to check on this particular suit. We're grateful. That's Nipapo Samwado, lawyer for 18-year-old resident of Afienya in the Greater Accra region, Ayita Precious, in spite of an injunction suit she filed earlier. She's also asking the Tema High Court to commit the EC chairperson, Jean Mensah, and her deputies to prison for contempt for going ahead with the exercise despite her application for injunction pending before the court. Now, let me take you around the country and let's part of the country and let's monitor how today's exercise has been so far. We start in Accra, where the parliamentary candidate of the NDC in the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, John Dumelo, an MP of the area, Lydia Sarah Malasan, have admitted to providing transport for constituency in the ongoing exercise. We'll get to hear from the 2 of them shortly, but first listen to some of the registrants who've been interacting with my colleague James Aveji.
I came here. My assemblyman brought me here.
Okay. So, is he the one who told you where you can register, or you know the office you need to go?
He brought us here.
He brought you here. But you have no idea this is where you are supposed to.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know this was the place we had to come. I've been here before for my NHIS, but I didn't know they've been doing the voters ID card. Yeah.
You are hopeful that by close of day you will get your card.
Yeah.
What's your impression about the process so far? Too slow, or is going okay?
I won't say it's too slow, but we are in it. Yeah.
Okay. The two brothers are still here with me. I won't call it. Ari. I think it's your favor. Akachi. Can you get back here?
Abelempe.
You can't pay Vala Abelempe.
Over my sin,
oh, okay. Can make it blown over Ejabanaba Wokada.
Afu Kwaju. Kwaju.
Oh, okay. I'm Yenya Miabakoto. I say, can't give me off of here.
You come here.
I come here. Flavor who I don't care. Flavor. Yen Toba who okay. So essentially, what he's telling me is that he's from Akachi in the Volta region. He's here in Accra, precisely at Belimpe, to work as a mason. And his foreman actually informed him that the registration process is on. And so he brought him here together with his brother in order to get the card. Let me work card I vote to 2024. Let me laugh you the leki mi ogafia adakwa.
Miafiana gonna be
Mijoa ko. Tana kana mi jo yi akachi yako da ido le miafia bagaba voter. Okay. I was just trying to inquire if they register for the card and during the 2024 elections they would want to cast their ballot and they are not in Accra, how would they be able to use the card? And they say that they are here, they are not leaving anytime soon, but if they do, they will try and find their way to come back and come and vote.
Well, so that's James Aveji interacting with his countryman who's come from Abilingpe. He was from Akachi all the way, and he's in Abilingpe now trying to register. James joins me in studio. He's pretend. So in spite of the rains, it looks like the exercise still went on. But let's talk about the places you visited, James.
Okay, Emefa. So our stop was at the Electoral Commission's former headquarters at Reach. Okay. And so when we got there, the first registration center we saw was the Ayawasu West Wogon registration center. And so we thought that was all. Then we were later informed that the premises actually housed 5 different district offices. And so we had the 4 Ayawasu assemblies, West Wogon, East, Central, as well as North, and then the Osu Kole Klote assemblies as well. And so all 5 of them, 4 were in the EC's old headquarters building, and then the other one, which is the 5th, was at the compound. And so 5 of them at the same premises.
Okay. Well, one major concern we know raised by the groups calling for decentralization is the issue of proximity. Now, we've heard some of the registrants there mention that they were transported to the registration center. Has any of the political parties confirmed this to you?
Indeed, in my interaction with leaders of the 2 political parties, they have confirmed that they have made some provisions of the sort for the members. My curiosity was how long this will continue. They say they will do as long as their resources can't take them. No guarantee that they can do that in the 30 days. There has been some discrepancies in that as well. For instance, when I interacted with the party chairman for the NDC of the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, he tells me that because the NPP has money, they convey people in air-conditioned buses while they look for trotro for some constituents to come and vote. And so that was his allegation. I've also talked with the MP for the area, Seram Al-Hassan, as well as John Dumelo, and this is what they've been telling me.
Ayawaso West is big, and so if you have to pick them from their homes each to come here, I mean, it's tough. There's traffic on the way, there's, there are a lot of obstacles and so on, and so it's tough. But all in all, they need to be registered because we want them to vote in 2024, but most especially we also want them to vote in the district assembly elections, which is coming up very soon. It's about calling them personally, it's about visiting their homes personally, it's about convincing them to come here, personally. It's about conveying them myself in my car, personally here. I mean, since 4 a.m. I've been here, making sure that, the queues are formed in a nice way, giving them water, giving them refreshments, making sure they are comfortable,
So you are busing them here?
Yeah, Yes, personally. We are busing them from the communities, like from Okonglo, from Impasa, from Baleshi, from Tesano, from Ridge, from Airport, Jolu. We are busing them personally. Yes.
Is this an initiative supported by the party from the national level?
It's an initiative supported by the party. I mean, look, the party has given us instructions that register your people and find ways and means of registering your people. So if you don't register your people, how are you going to get the votes? You
can see the numbers this morning. It tells you that the youth of this country want to be part of the democratic process of the country. I am hopeful that they will come. Those who can't make it, we've made available vehicle to bring them. So we are ready for the process. Particularly my students who are on vacation. It is our responsibility to ensure that they are here to help them, to facilitate this for them so that they are here come 7th December to exercise their franchise.
That's Lydia Sayram Al-Hassan there. She's the Ayawaso West Wogon MP. And then also you heard earlier John Dumelo aspiring to unseat her. And they've been interacting with my colleague James Aveji. That's the situation in the Greater Accra region, picture painted by my colleague James Aveji. But let me take you now to the Upper West region. And we're told that already 2 persons have been arrested after they were flagged for attempting to register twice. And Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam thankfully joins us on the line. Rafiq, tell us about this situation. Hello, Rafiq. It doesn't look like Rafiq can hear me, but he found this report earlier.
The one municipal office of the Electoral Commission is the venue of the EC Limited registration exercise. Close to 3 dozen prospective registrants were already going through the registration process, whilst others sat patiently waiting for their turn. There have neither been any report of system failure nor software malfunctioned. As a result of that, 2 persons who registered in the last registration exercise and want to have another bite of the pie were easily identified and rejected by the registration devices, prompting the one municipal officer of the EC, Ben Kujo Adagolo, to sound the warning bells.
So far, 2 people have been detected for attempting to register twice.
Ben Alagolo faded too light on the issue.
The 2 that were caught attempting to register again, probably we have to let them go because they told us that they registered in 2016, not knowing it was registration done in 2020. So probably the benefit of the doubt, we have allowed them to go. Probably if anybody comes again and we see that he's attempting to register twice, but before they will not even allow it to happen, we shall be giving on-spot education, publicity, as you saw me in the first instance doing. We'll be telling them that please, it is not a fresh registration, but registration for those who are qualified in that manner to do so.
3 hours after the start of the registration, more than 40 persons had registered and handed over their voter registration card. 2 of them spoke to us on why they think acquiring the voter ID card is necessary.
The economic is hard. Just right now, I'm not feeling anything. I just finished What Technical Institute this year. I'm not getting any job right now.
So you think that your vote will determine your fate?
Inshallah, by the grace of Allah.
Sometimes you'll be traveling, they'll ask you of your voter ID card or a Ghana card. If you're not having it, it can be a problem. Because of that, we want to have it.
In the next coming days, they are expecting people to come in droves to be part of the registration process. Reporting for the news, Rafiq Salam. Wah.
I'll take you now to the northern region, and my colleague Martina Bugri has also been monitoring the exercise. Martina, which areas have you been to and what can you report?
I visited two offices, the Tamale Metro office and the Sanergo, but I was based more at the Sanergo offices because that's where I spent most of the day. As at 3 o'clock, they had registered just 2 people. In the whole of the morning, they had the machine malfunction, link failure. And so basically the whole morning, nobody was working. They were all seated. People had been bused from various constituencies, the Tamale, North, and then Sanergo constituency to the center to be registered. They had some came in very early. Someone told me he arrived there around 5 this morning. Right after prayers, he was there waiting to be registered. And after 12:01, he hadn't been registered yet. He complained of hunger, headache, because he hadn't eaten earlier in the morning before coming. And so the whole day was eventually like a holiday for the EC workers. They were sitting down while the people who had come in to register were also seated. Unfortunately, it rained heavily midway, and so for 2-3 hours, everybody left the center whilst it was raining. It was after the rain a few people came in, but that was even close to the close of the day. So basically, little was done at the Sanergo district office today.
But I'm sure you've been finding out from the ECU officials about this machine malfunction. What really was the explanation that was given?
What they said was that they had issues with their service, so they couldn't go online to do the registration, and they decided to switch to the manual, and the machines were also not picking, and so they couldn't do anything but to wait till the link is on again, and then they begin to work. So basically, this was the explanation they gave us, even though they wouldn't speak on record.
Okay, Martina, thank you so much. That's for day 1, and she's been stationed at Sanergo most part of the day. And that's at 3 p.m. Only 2 persons were registered. I'll tell you the situation in the Ashanti region shortly. My colleague Anaya Ojima has been monitoring, but let me take you to the Oti region quickly, and Peter Senu is there for us. Peter, what's the situation there? I know it rained off at some point, but what can you report?
Well, not very much different from what Martina reported from her region. The rains came pouring in, and at the point that I was at the KGB district office, and so very little activity happened there this morning, and then the rain set in. And at the point, the lights went out, and the internet connectivity also went down, and so there was nothing done for more than an hour. We were all there watching. And so, but as of 3 p.m., when light restored, my information was that only 3 got registered as of the time I was leaving there, with other 3 persons in queue to be registered. So, take for granted that they got registered, so that would be 6 for the KGB district office. And so, that was what happened here today. The rains came in, internet connectivity went down, and then the light also went out. So very little activity here at where I monitored activity in the KGB district. Emefa.
Well, thank you, Peter. Not too much for you to do today, but hopefully tomorrow will be better. But that's the situation also in the KGB district, in the Oti region, as my colleague Peter Seno has been reporting. Where were you today? You can send me a message. I know that Abuchi Philip also has been talking about the situation in Keta. I'll get to your comment shortly, but which areas did you visit, and what was the situation there? Any different from what our reporters have been telling me? You can also send your messages as via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. You're watching live on Facebook. You can leave your comments there as well. We'll harvest most of your messages. But let's check on the situation in the Ashanti region. And we're told that there were some applicants who've been left frustrated after spending hours in queue on the first day of the exercise at Akumadang in the Ofinso North District. Security officers had a tough time controlling applicants to observe set protocols. Nanaya Ojima has more.
Some applicants at Akumadang in a confrontation with security officers for allegedly whipping them to order. At the Asokore Mampong office of the Electoral Commission, applicants queue outside the premises. Intermittently, the gate of the premises is opened for a few applicants to enter. Sometimes there is chaos at the gate as some persons attempt to bypass the queue.
We've been here since about an hour now. People will be bringing protocols, but protocols are it's too much here. So I think the electoral officer and the policemen in charge here should come out and control the queue here, as there will be a lot of misunderstanding here.
So as I said, any person go on.
I came around 8 a.m. and it is not my turn yet. Some came very early.
So now say I'm out for protocol.
Some people keep skipping the queue. They are giving excuses and others. It is unfair.
With time, frustration and tiredness set in for some of the applicants after standing for hours. Some had to squat or find stones to use as seats since the commission by law prevented seats for the process. Some applicants shared their frustrations. It's not comfortable standing.
It's not comfortable.
For how long have you been standing?
More than 2 hours. More than 2 hours.
From the look of things, it doesn't look like you'll be done the next hour. Can you wait?
Maybe I'll manage.
What do you think could have been done to ensure that this process is a little bit comfortable for you?
They should bring more computers so that...
You bring what?
Fast.
They should bring what?
More computers so that the line will be fast.
By midday, 43 persons had successfully gone through the application with 2 registration points set up in the EC office. Many believe the Electoral Commission may fail to achieve the daily target of registering 300 applicants. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
Well, so that's the situation in the Ashanti region also, as the Naya Aljima report. And looking at some of your messages, we'll take this one from Abuchi Philip from Keta. He says the first day of the exercise was totally poor. He says the network machine went off at 1:30 p.m. We've experienced a low turnout at the Keta constituency. That's Philip Abuchi from Keta's comments there. And we have also this one from Charles Legon. Do we have elderly people who matter to bring the Electoral Commissioner to order? Should plunge the country into trouble, so talk to her before it's too late. And also we have this one from Lincoln in Akwetiman. Okay, I'll take Prof's message first. Which institution in this country has left public communication in the hands of its decentralized structures? Not even GES. IGP should be left alone. So you're talking about the next story and also the public hearings today and the details that emerged. And also this one from Lincoln in Akwetiman, and he says why the EC is not willing to expand the registration centers to enable more people to register. We, those in the city, even finding it difficult to register. And that's your message, Lincoln. Thank you for sending it in. And we have this one also from Mustafa in Lower Manya Krobo. And you have a rather long one. I would scroll all the way to the bottom to get it. And the people we entrust our safety into their hands are rather struggling over power and authority. I think COP Alex Mensah is pained over the IGP position. Give COP George Dampare. Okay, I pray for a fruitful outcome. That's the Mustafa you're talking about today's public hearing as well. And more of your messages, we'll get into it. And Walanyo sends me one from Medina, and it says the exercise, Medina, was also bad. And okay, and that's that one also. And this one also from Kotoka Courage in the Volta region. We can all see what is happening. If the MPP can bus their people to district offices, they can bus people, but they will not vote for them in 2024. Okay, so you're also talking about the exercise in different ways. So wherever you are, you monitored the exercise, what you witnessed, you can share them with us. We'll go for business. When we return, we'll focus on the ad hoc committee sittings today, and the IGP, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, appeared before the committee. And amongst others, we've been looking at it extensively on Top Story, insisting that he's not the worst IGP this country has seen. And most of the allegations, he says, leveled against him are total falsehood. And he also defends the decision to centralize police communications, as he says the decision was agreed to and made at the Police Management Board and not his sole decision decision. We'll focus on that, plus our story of hope for today, where after losing her 1-year-old daughter to cancer, one woman has decided to wage war against the canker to whisk other children away from the jaws of death. That's in our stories of hope after Beverly brings us business. Hello.
Right, Emefa, thank you so much. Hello, welcome to the business news on Newsnight, brought to you by MTN, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tank, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal. Coming up tonight, Fitch Solutions predicts Ghana cedi to end 2023 at 11 cedis 40 pesos to $1. We have details in 30 minutes. And New World Trade Organization report warns Ghana's trade expansion is negatively being impacted by cost and access to finance. We have details after this break.
It's the best season of the year. Just in some points, Momo Pay or you say Momo app. Send with ease and win big. You be merchant or you be Momo user. Momo season Abanti send the Send the Momo season Abanti send the
From now till the end of September, earn points when you download the Momo app and make Momo Pay transactions to a merchant via either the QR code or merchant ID and stand the chance of winning 1,000 Ghana cedis weekly and other amazing prizes. Our merchants are not left out. Receive payment and win. There are lots and lots of exciting prizes to be won. So download the Momo app, transact with Momo Pay and get rewarded this Momo season. TNCs apply.
MTN.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us once again. From the 4th of September to the 31st of October 2023, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% to 15% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and so much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stock lasts. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302 764 209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex Tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex Tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex Tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project, or demand, choose Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, stress-free. Syntex Tank, reliable. Syntex Tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough.
I'm afraid. Media Sambisanda Moa. It's your Ratiano, Mumu, Panet, Mufin, Namu, Podom, Pemana Yakono. Eh, Quabna. No Mumu wants me to be just my marrying that day. And the crow, corporate Miri Nambo, Pimusan, so you super excellent eba. I had a binding to Braye, who see it in a mobile, some man I want it. Sir, I need Nakujusu, you super excellent Chaco, Nanny, a mouse, who you could fit that. No, what you ask you, my mother feel you. Hey, Kojo. Yeah. Pepsodent Heba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedia, you're gonna natural.
FDIJ Jadian Katuyatu.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's take a look at our details now. And Fitch Solutions is forecasting that the Ghana cedi will end 2023 at 11 cedis 40 pesos against the dollar. This is lower than the 12 cedis 40 pesos it predicted earlier in the year. At a time, Ghana was yet to reach an agreement with the International Monetary Fund for a bailout package. Here's a report.
The UK-based firm is also projecting 10 cedis 90 pesos to $1 in 2024, fueled by expected inflows from the International Monetary Fund program and improved investor confidence. The local currency is presently going for 11 cedis 53 pesos to the dollar in the retail market and 11 cedis 5 pesos to the American greenback on the interbank market. Since Ghana secured the IMF bailout package in May this year, the local currency has remained relatively stable against the dollar and all the major foreign currencies. Fitch Solutions explained that while short-term exchange rate volatility will persist, it believes that the cedi will stabilize. The forex market was a bit choppy last week as the cedi saw some volatility against the US dollar. This is despite the Bank of Ghana announcing plan to auction $120 million in its forest forward auctions for the bulk oil distribution companies during Q4 2023.
That was a Business Desk report. Now, Ghana's ability to export more and participate in global trade is badly being affected by access and cost of credit. This was captured in the latest World Trade Report released by the World Trade Organization today. George Riafe has more from Geneva, Switzerland.
The World Trade Organization's report showed that banks in Ghana support about 25% of the country's trade. This makes it difficult for Ghana to realize its potential and get more from trade deals with other countries and multinationals. The report showed that Ghana could have benefited more from the various trade agreements that it has signed if there was the required financing provided to the various businesses and institutions in the country. It also came up that rejection rate was very high by these financial institutions, especially when it comes to small businesses and women.
Now, the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association is calling for a collaboration with the government to deliver affordable housing to the Ghanaian populace. According to the president of the association, Patrick Ebobonfo, the collaboration is necessary to ensure that all parties benefit equally while addressing the housing deficit challenges in the country.
These are areas where we can easily collaborate with government to deliver an affordable house. Because to be fair, if I'm building a house that will cost 100,000 Ghana cedis and a fellow developer has built the same thing and is selling it at 500,000 Ghana cedis and we all go and pay corporate tax of 25%, it's a disincentive to me to build an affordable house. So these are areas we have been thinking we can collaborate with government and we can be encouraged to do more with our pricing and then we can do better.
You heard there Patrick Ebobonfo, he's the president of GRIDA. Now, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, is charging mining firms to make efforts in engaging local communities to understand their operations. According to him, this will enhance security in the mines as well as support cooperation between the companies and the indigents. Mr. Jinapo gave the advice in a speech to launch the Mining for Development Forum organized by the Ghana Chamber of Mines in Accra.
Just by deploying law enforcement agencies and by using brute enforcement and by using brute force will resolve issues of insecurity of large-scale mining operations or conglomerate extractive industry anywhere in the world. You have just not taken your history lessons right because it will not work. The enforcement is absolutely important. Sustainable measures to carry the community with you in and by itself will not be sufficient because recalcitrant people will definitely be greedy and they will move on and move on. So the enforcement is key. Deployment of police and all the various operation halt and measures we put in place is important. But equally important is the other aspect of carrying the country, first of all, and carrying the community with you.
Samuel Abujinapo is Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Now, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, is entreating non-traditional exporters to leverage opportunities presented by investors to expand their operations. According to him, the sector is key to drive economic growth, hence more investment is needed to streamline activities. He was speaking at an engagement with some non-traditional exporters.
I'm reliably informed that the Ghana Trade House in Nairobi currently boasts of an impressive inventory of over 250 varieties, Ghanaian products, totaling in all more than about 6,500 items spans various product sectors, showcasing the depth and the breadth of Ghana's non-traditional exports. I strongly encourage all exporters to capitalize on this facility to expand your markets, as government has heavily invested in the infrastructure to serve Ghanaian exporters and the general business community.
And that's how we end business on Newsnight, brought to you by MTN, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tank, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal.
Thank you very much, Beverly. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll catch you on Joy News Channel at 7.
Yeah.
Well, so let's take more of your messages. And Nanekuya Mwabwating from Ablekuma Central has sent his message. He says, I'm very elated that the parliamentary probe into the Bugri Nabu leaked audio is pointing to the fact that there's an internal wrangling in the Ghana Police Service and not the narrative that the NDC portrayed, that the NPP wants to remove the IGP for the purpose of winning the 2024 elections. And this one from Michael Semado from the Volta region, Angloga Way. He says, I think EC has to expand and then create more centers to enable more people to register. Today, it had rained here, so there's poor network and light out, and it affected the registration today. And more status report of today's exercise. And Agbe or Daklu Chief says, the registration exercise is really cumbersome. We have to find means to convey people, including the aged, from their various communities to the registration center for the exercise. And that's Agbe's message. And this one says the IGP has really demonstrated his mettle, that he's the right man for the job. He's deep, philosophical. As for his accusers, may he forgive them. Frederick, Lakeside Estate. And we'll definitely get into that story shortly. And this one also says the IGP gave us today his chronological qualifications and achievements within the force. So are those wanting to replace him are more qualified and experienced than him, or just wanting the post because of political affiliation? Nana, Spintex Road. That's your message. I'll take a final one from Selom, and he says, how come reputable government organizations such as the EC cannot respect simple rule of law in Ghana? Or is the EC and the Mensa is simply higher than laws and courts of the country? And God have mercy, you see. More of your messages. Thank you so much for sending them in. We'll go for sports shortly, and then we can get into more of the IGP stories, because most of you are waiting for that particular story. We've been looking at it on Top Story, but if Musbao is preparing to bring us that, let's get into sports. Yeah, Musbao, what do we have?
Well, yeah, I mean, Emefa, the Black Stars were in action. I think about 40 minutes ago, the game ended against Liberia. It was an international friendly. Ghana won 3-1. NS Nyama scored and provided an assist in that game as Ghana picked that comfortable 3-1 win over Liberia in that international friendly at the Accra Sports Stadium. Now, NS Nyama, he opened the scoring for the Black Stars with a fantastic half volley after taking down a brilliantly lobbed pass in the 52nd minute. That is his second goal for Ghana, after scoring his debut goal for the Black Stars in the 2-1 win over the Central African Republic on Thursday. Well, 7 minutes later, it was your man Mohamed Kudus who added the second from an NS Nyama pass after showing awareness to take down an air ball. Mohamed Kudus brought down the ball, and he managed to give Ghana the second goal. Now, guess who scored the third goal? It is Jordan Ayew, who wrapped up the scoring for Ghana with his 20th international goal for the Black Stars in the 82nd minute. It was a second time finish after his initial attempt was stopped. Well, the Liberians did get a consolation through Divine Tia. He scored in the 90th minute after some poor defensive game for Ghana. So the Black Stars will now turn their attention to October friendlies, where they will play the United States of America and Mexico in the international friendlies.
Well, that's it for sports.
Yeah, that's it. And Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Okay, see you soon. That's Musbao with the latest from the world of sport, and congratulations to the Black Stars. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, is expected to appear once again before the ad hoc committee tomorrow, this time with the National Security Minister and the other accusers. But he's been defending also the decision to centralize police communications by limiting police officers' communication with the media. Well, he's also, you've heard him today. If you missed it, it. He's been disputing claims or allegations that he's the worst IGP in the history of this country, also dismissing all the allegations that were brought against him by his accusers, insisting that they are all false allegations. But we know that since the IGP assumed office, the various regional police PROs have been rendered redundant of a sort, with the Director of Public Affairs, the only officer releasing statements, and she doesn't even speak. While responding to questions before the ad hoc committee investigating the leaked tape that allegedly plotted his removal, Dr. Dampare explained that the decision was in the best interest of the service and conformed to international best practices.
It is something we have discussed at POMAP, agreed upon a strategy for redefining our engagement with the public in a manner that sits well with international best practice. You have had a system where you get up in the morning, everybody across the country, across at times district, division, and regional level, granting interviews on matters of police from a perspective that at times not informed by the full facts. And at the end of it all, when the facts come, the organization look unpresentable. It's not the invention of Dampare. It is something that we've looked at and then got all the commanders at all levels involved and get their inputs.
Well, he also denied claims that he's been sitting on the promotions of qualified police officers, so to speak. The IGP explains that they are only following existing rules that have been enforced for more than a decade.
When it comes to people who have gone to school and they are coming and they are asking for promotion, and it didn't start on the watch of this current administration. It is 11 years or more ago, and this is something that has been implemented. But unfortunately, it is being circulated around and making it feel that as if the current administration that I lead, we have denied people their promotion because they have gone to school. And then it has become difficult for me to speak to it because after they have petitioned the police council asking for some sort of mercy in terms of this promotion, and why is the police council was considering the matter, they took it to court. So it's not something that is the creation of the current administration. It is 11 or something years old, and the people involved know it. But they present the matter out there and make it look like it is the current administration which has done something to deny their promotion. That is not a good thing, that you allow your selfish interest to overshadow the reputation of an institution and an individual and a team leading it now.
Well, my colleague Samuel Imbura has returned from that meeting. He's been following it since it started, and we call him the leak tape man. He's joined me in studio, but we know that the issue about whether some police officers are not happy with how he's handling the police service came up. But he argues, that's Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, he argues that a substantial majority of the police service are actually behind him.
As Inspector General of Police, working with my colleagues, we as a team, we can't get everybody appreciating what we do. But this is what we do differently. Because we have what I call mindfulness mindset. We are aware of this and we try to get everybody along, irrespective of whether the person likes or does not. And I've demonstrated it. These are my brothers. In spite of all what is happening, at the break, I walk to them. We have the chat. Means getting along. We may have differences, but that should not stop us from working together. So this is what we've done, pulling everybody together and having majority, a very substantial majority of the police.
Well, so that's IGP Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, and he will be coming back tomorrow. But my colleague Samuel Imbura is with me. So, talking about substantial majority of police officers that are with Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, I know that a number of them were with him today at the ad hoc committee. Let's go through the list.
Exactly. So, almost all the POMAP members came.
Okay.
The Police Management Board were solidly behind him. I saw the GP2. That is COP Tete Yohuno. I'm told he wasn't well, but he had to take hospital permission to come and then support the IGP. I also saw the director of the Police Professional Bureau, COP Lydia Donko, and the director of welfare for the Ghana Police Service, COP Chumesi Habiba. She was also there. The Greater Accra Regional Police Commander, Dr. Saibu Gariba, was also there. A whole lot of people were there. Not only the police hierarchy, the Interior Minister was represented by the Deputy Interior Minister. She came because the police is under her ministry. Okay. And the other interesting person was the Deputy Minister for Finance, Abina Osei Asare. She said both the Dampare and the lawyer Kwame Jan are her constituents, a reason she came there. So he actually had a full backing in his appearance before the committee.
Okay, well, earlier there were concerns about whether his accusers should stay in there whilst he gives his testimony or is interrogated. All these issues came up before the IGP started speaking. But I want you to tell us about the mood in the room once the chairman overruled that kind of call that the accusers should step out. They stayed in there throughout. Body language, what did you observe?
Yeah, so the body language specifically about Alex Mensah. He stayed on his phone throughout the proceedings. At the point he raised his head, but he wouldn't pay attention to what his boss is saying. At a point I felt that he was giggling with the responses from his boss, but wouldn't show that. His attitude was more or less like he wasn't in agreement with what he was saying. At the point you see that he would turn his face to the other side, not watching his boss, but obviously disagreeing with him in his head. And also we also have the chief superintendent George Asare. He was seated just left of the IGP. He was his head was facing the table throughout the proceedings, but Superintendent Eric JB, he was listening attentively to the entire exercise. But it will interest you to note that when we first went for the break, IGP Akuffo Dampare went and shook the hands of his accusers, Superintendent George Asare, Eric JB, and then he actually gave a hug to COP Alex Mensah. And then when they closed, it was the same atmosphere. It wasn't a tensed atmosphere. It was a light environment. And taking into consideration that the chairman, Mr. Atachia, also brought in some icebreakers, it was able to diffuse the tension at the committee there. So there was no showdown after all. Okay. Maybe tomorrow that we'll see that.
Okay, so talking about tomorrow, what are we expecting?
Tomorrow, the National Security Minister, per what the chairman of the committee said, is appearing. I asked him why should the National Security Minister appear. His explanation was that even before the committee started investigating the tape, the NIB already started some investigation. So a reason he has to come and then also testify to them what they have gathered so far as this leaked tape is concerned.
Okay.
And I want to call attention to bear on Article 103(6) of the Constitution. A committee appointed under this article shall have the powers, rights and privileges of the High Court or a justice of the High Court at a trial for enforcing the attendance of witnesses and examining them on oath, affirmation or otherwise, compelling the production of documents, and C, issuing a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad. We had an issue with Bugri Nabu, who said because of issues of chieftaincy, National House of Chiefs meeting, he couldn't show up today.
Well, so the National Security Minister and, of course, the IGP, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare, and the other accusers, they will all be there tomorrow, and we look forward to that sitting tomorrow. And my colleague Samuel Imbura will bring us more updates from that sitting. But let's talk about stories of hope today. And in the face of unimaginable tragedy, one woman's strength and determination has not only transformed her own life, but also brought hope to countless others. Join us as we delve into the inspiring story of Ikuya Sapong, a mother who weathered the storm of losing her daughter to cancer and later established an NGO to support parents who are economically and emotionally challenged and facing similar challenges.
You're broken down and
Any mother cherished the simple joys of life, especially the moments she shared with her children. But their calm world was rocked by a cruel diagnosis: cancer.
My little girl, she had rhabdomyosarcoma at 1 year, 4 months, and we went through the treatment here in Kolebu, and we did some of our treatments, externally. We came back, we finished it, and unfortunately she relapsed.
Before her daughter's death, Ikuya had absolutely no idea childhood cancers existed. It felt like a part of her had been torn away in the most unpardonable way.
I lost my child exactly 5 years ago. A very painful journey.
In her darkest hour, Ikuya discovered a newfound purpose. She channeled her pain and grief into founding an organization with a mission to provide support to parents enduring the same harrowing journey.
So we are the foundation partner for the pediatric oncology, and we raise funds, nurse services, support include paying for diagnostics. So we pay for CT scan, MRIs, pathology, we pay for treatment itself.
And that's our story of hope for today. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com, but you ought to stay. We have the gig scored, and Perpetual is ready with the team. We're reducing the risk of perceived risk of when buying online. I need this. Tell me about it.
Hi, Emefa. And good evening. I just want to find out from you, have you shopped online? And
I always stay away from online shopping. I can't even order food online because I don't trust it. Really, I'm old-fashioned like that. So Loretta in the newsroom is always the one buying for me.
You see, and that's what we want to look at this evening.
Okay.
Because there are some perceived risks. People think it's not very safe. And is that really the case? We want to get into it so that even if there are some risks, we see how best we can just overcome them. E-money transacting online has come to stay, and we need to just be more vigilant when it comes to this. We'll be looking at that.
We'll see how we get used to it. This topic is just for me, so yes. I'll be on the lookout. Thank you very much. Stay with the geeks.